Hey guys, we're here today to go over our last tutorial, an introduction to stabilizers that we use. We're going to start with the Innov8 linear tracking system. This is the LTS30, so this is good for cameras up to 30 pounds. We use the Innov8 system for three reasons. One, we've got the adjustable legs here, so it works really well on uneven ground. Two, it's got linear bearings, which means you're going to get your shot nice and smooth the very first time. You might actually notice that noise just a little bit. You're going to want to be careful of that though. Make sure you're doing a really slow slide or you don't need your audio while you're using this. Number three, why we use this, right here, the adjustable bowl. So not only can we adjust our legs, but we can also adjust the angle that the head's sitting at to make sure we get a perfectly level shot or do angled shots on an incline or decline. We'll get to that in a bit. Next, Steadicam Merlin. This little beauty here, at less than $1,000, is perfect as a compact stabilizer. For a lot of our shoots, we actually use the full body-mounted system like a Steadicam Flyer, but with an investment almost upwards of $10,000, it's usually out of reach for most people, and some just don't want to have to travel with a larger rig. They don't really want to have the look of a larger rig, but if you want that production value, I find you can get shots very similar with this little beauty here. What's nice about it is it uses the same physics, the same idea as the larger rigs. So even if you feel like this is maybe a little bit smaller than you want to be using in the long run, it really gets you used to the basics of how to use these because it's got the same gimbal system, it's got the same balancing principles. As you get comfortable with that, you can then move up into a pilot or a flyer. But if you're just getting into this and you want a smaller setup, the Merlin is perfect and it's very good to be able to switch back into these other tools. You'll notice our tripod head on the slider, the Monopod we're going to get into, as well as the Merlin, all are set up with the same man-throttle quick-release system, so we can switch our cameras through all of these tools very quickly without having to stop. Last, we're going to go to this beauty here. This is probably the thing we get asked about most on Vimeo, and that is, what is the model of the Monopod? And right here, once and for all, is the 561 BHDV, the absolute best piece of gear you can buy for your toolkit. Now the one thing I will say is that this does come as a kit. You get the head on top and you get the legs here. I do not believe you can order the legs separately. You can get a slightly different model of the head separately if you'd like, but this does come as a complete system. What's perfect about the Monopod is the versatility it gives you. First, we're going to show you how we use the Monopod. What is great about this is that it's $300, and we probably shoot 80% of our events, whether it's a wedding, NFL, or any kind of commercial event, with this alone. It has so much versatility in it. So we've got Antia here, and she's going to be putting on some of her jewelry. And one of the first things you're going to notice about the Monopod is just how quickly you can adjust your height. So I can very quickly go up and down and shoot exactly where I would like. Now, when you pair that with the fluid head as well as the ball joint at the bottom, you'll notice we can really get some smooth moves in and out. Now what you're going to have to get used to is really being able to rack focus quickly. If you're moving your camera and you're shooting at something like 1.4 that I have the camera at now, you really have to get used to racking on the fly and being able to hold focus. The more you can get comfortable with that though, you can get some really high production value shots and nail them as they happen without having to ask people to stop or do things again. Another great thing about the Monopod is that when you tighten up these joints, it's great for using out of moving vehicles. So you can actually extend this out of a car, you can drop it down the side. We're actually on the Cinema Caravan, we've got some behind the scenes of us hanging out the side of the bus. And we do have to kind of course, give you the disclaimer again that the views represented within are not necessarily those endorsed by Canon. However, you can hang out the side of a bus and drop your camera down right off the ground. You can get shots that generally take huge setups, all kinds of different suction cups and ties, and in minutes we can drop the camera down and get some amazing shots. Next up, we have the Steadicam Merlin. This is the perfect tool to add motion to your films. You see, with a very subtle move, we can get a dolly-like shot. We can really raise and lower it to get crane-like shots. And we can even walk with it, and we can get shots just like you'd see in a Hollywood movie. The Merlin is a great starter stabilizer because it's a very low investment, and it doesn't take long to get comfortable with. Why we love the Merlin is all of these micro adjustments on the stage make it very easy to fine-tune the exact balance. And as you can see, we can shoot up and down stairs and get really stable shots. The Merlin really is a great place to start if either you're looking for a lower investment, if you just want to keep your setup really discreet, or if you don't find you have a crew size that's going to let you really have the time to put on a full vest mount system and switch in and out. So the last thing we're going to go over is the slider here. Basically all we do is we just clip our camera in, just tighten on the head, we're going to release the lock right here, and then we're ready to go. We've got a pan tilt head on here so that as we're shooting we can actually pan the camera left to right, or we can tilt up and down. So you can get some really nice moves where you're combining not just the slide but also a pan and a tilt. So in a situation like this, I would actually just use the slider on the ground. So all I do is just set my focus and then I just slowly slide it along here. This is, in my opinion, the best way to add an extremely high production value to all of your films. There's nothing that's going to add a look like what this can do. And there's nothing that you can bring into places that you're able to bring this and get such a high production value out of it. One more tip for the slider is to go into underslung mode when you want super low shots or to do things like a ring shot. So all we're going to do is lock this down and we're going to take these legs off here. Just going to loosen them off. So now we're just going to take these blocks and we're just going to put them on upside down. So we'll just reattach these, and there we go. Now what we've done is we've reattached our blocks, but we've got the camera so that it's upside down. So we just flip this over here, and you can drop it down. As I spread this out, we can get super low shots to the ground and really drag the camera almost as if it's sliding right on the ground. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed all of the tutorials. We had a great time traveling across the country with the Canon Cinema Caravan. I just want to send out a special thanks to Canon Live Learning for making all of this happen and letting us sleep on a bus for the past month. It was a crazy experience and we'll never forget it.